G'day guys, it's Mark here. Welcome to Nine Empire. In this episode, the budget 5-litre Fairlane is back. We're going to take a look at some hints and tricks when it comes to detailing something like this. Also, what's in store for the Fairlane? Watch to find out. Let's go. Alright guys, now we're going to get stuck into this NC Fairlane of Andrea's. We're going to get this thing all tidied up so I can daily it for a little while, and also we're going to then get this thing back on the market. Now I'm going to go through some of my go-to methods and also products in how I go about detailing a car and what I have found that works the best for me. So first up, this thing has been used as a daily. This is just purely a commuter, and it is definitely showing the wares of a daily driver. It's filthy, and I gotta say, bit embarrassing because usually we're pretty clean with our cars, but this thing with the trips up and back from the river, being winter as well, we live on a dirt road, it has copped a little bit this season just gone. So I've been meaning to do this for the last week or so. Now's the time. First up, we need to get all the crap out of this car. We got leftover Coke cans. There's hair from Andrea's salon where she works. There's dog blankets in the back. There's chewed paper thanks to our puppies. And we can get all this shit out, and then we're going to get into cleaning this thing. And this thing is going to come up mint. It's actually a really, really tidy car. We want to make it look that way. So let's get stuck into it now. Diet Coke, that's me. I'm an athlete, no sugar. Stains, oh, that's us. That's Winnie's fault. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to tackle in this car is the carpets and the seats, and also the door cards, which are velour. There is so much fabric in this thing, not a skerrick of leather, but we have got some vinyl, so we'll hit them up as well. The dash and everything in the way of vinyl and plastics are in really, really good shape. Also, so is the trim. Really, in general, the trim is pretty bloody good. But what is not good is the state of these carpets. They are stained. They're pretty much just grubby. They're not actually that stained. There's a little bit of a cigarette burn there, it sucks, but overall pretty good. So the first thing we're going to do is give these carpets a mad scrub. This is factory carpet, it's a loop pile, and it is hardy as almighty hell. This car's a 94 model, so obviously she's got some age to her, and the carpets are in pretty good shape. First thing I'm going to do is hit it with a hard bristled brush on a drill. I'm not going to even bother with the elbow grease of doing it by hand because you don't get the same result, and why wouldn't you work smarter, not harder? Now, secondly, I would usually nail these carpets with a bunch of carpet shampoo, but I couldn't find any, so what I'm going to be using is this, which is not Eclipse glass cleaner. That's just the bottle I had. I'm just using some leather and vinyl cleaner, so it's essentially just a multi-purpose cleaner. This cleaner I'm using is from 3D. It's like a bit more of a trade specific brand. You can get it from paint supply shops and stuff like that. They do like a really high-end polish and car care products like that. I generally wouldn't use that. I just bought this to try it. I bought a 4-litre bottle of it, and so far I'm pretty happy with it. But usually my go-to, and what I've suggested for many things in the past, including degreasing engine bays and also detailing white wall tires, is Meguiar's multi-purpose cleaner. Now that stuff is absolutely unbelievable. For some reason, there's something in the formula that is just really, really good. And to be honest with you, it's probably even a bit better than this 3D stuff. It's about 20 odd bucks a bottle. But yeah, well worth it. So if you haven't already, get yourself a bottle of that stuff and give it a go, because you'll be blown away with how good that stuff rips into like stained and severely dirty shit. So, but today, as I said, I'm using the 3D stuff, which is also good. I'm going to use that on the carpets because it's just a general purpose cleaner as well, and it's going to get it done. Otherwise, literally anything is going to work. Carpet shampoo is good, but literally anything with suds is going to work. Some may work better than others. So this is going to be pretty satisfying. First of all, I'm going to hammer this stain here. I don't know how this happened. I think I spilt like an iced coffee or something. It's pretty nasty. And at the time, I don't know what happened, but it was just like I'll deal with that later. So I'm going to give this a good going over with some spray, and then we're going to go absolute to town on it with this bad boy. So now that I've buzzed the shizzle out of it with this bad boy, I've obviously switched to a different brush now. These things are super handy. I got right in the jaw jams, right in the front here, right around all the nooks and crannies. This thing has come up unreal. We should have done this when we first bought the car. Next thing we're going to move on is to the Suckmaster 2000. Now this bad boy, the little green machine, it sucks.
It certainly does suck.
Now these things are so freaking handy. I know what you're thinking, wow, why I'm not a detailer, I don't need no wet vac. But let me tell you, this thing was only $99 thereabouts. I think it was 99 bucks, less than 100 bucks. We've got two of these. One's at Mum and Dad's. We've got one up here as well. And I mean, it is really good. Obviously being a wet vac, this little bad boy sprays. So you put your shampoo in there with some water, you spray, and then you suck it up, and you'll see this clear head. It just sucks all the shit out. And I'm going to use that right over these carpets in the door jambs as well. And I'm also going to use it on the seats. Side note, when doing upholstery like seats like this, velour, you got to be careful. I've done a few cars. I've spent hours on this machine and got out some serious stains. My XE Falcon, I had a black stain on a seat there. Aside from that, the whole trim was perfect. And I spent like 3 hours working on this seat, and I got it clean, but it was starting to get a little bit thin. I mean, admittedly, it was 40-year-old fabric, but just something to bear in mind when going to town on one of these things. Now I'm going to start ripping into this thing, see how it comes out, and I'll show you how much crap this thing actually draws out. Check it out. Yeah. Okay, one more. Let's go. Now you want to add a bunch more water. Get that thing wet, real wet. The wetter the better. All right, now that I have done the shampooing, we'll call it, as you can see, stain came right out. Admittedly, there's that stain along the side there, which is like looks like the edge of a mat. That didn't come out. If I spent some more time on it, maybe it would. Can't vouch for that. You would have seen also that I briefly went over all the door jambs with the other brush, and they all come up super clean as well. I mean, they're still filthy, but that's where we move to step 2. Obviously wiping all the surroundings. I always suggest doing the shampooing first because it flicks shit everywhere, and all your plastics and door jambs and interior parts are going to be filthy afterwards. I've only done the one passenger side as it is for now, just to show you guys. So I'm going to now move on to cleaning all these up. Now, it's all dried a bit now, but we'll give it another quick spray. Now, my go-to are these little microfibers, they Grubber Rag by Cooper. I think they do oil filters and stuff like that as well. I get these through my local guys at Auto One, Clovercrest. Shout out to the boys there and girls. Now these things are sick because obviously microfibers are super handy. They seem to do what a lot of other rags won't do, but they can be super expensive. I don't know why microfibers are so dear. Bunnings, forget it, they're too expensive. Whereas these are a 50 pack, and I can't remember what they're worth. I think they're like 20 bucks, 25 bucks or something like that. And they're a good size. They're like just a little 300 by 300-ish. Perfect little hand size rag, and I usually use these on, say, my windows, and then after I've done my windows I'll use them maybe to wipe some interior stuff, and then I just use them later for like cleaning up oil and then throw them out. So you get some good K's out of them and you don't feel bad for going through them like they're going out of fashion because they're so cheap. Anyway, I'm going to wipe up this door jamb and let's see how this thing comes up. All right, now that you'll see that this little passenger side here is looking absolutely mint inside and out. Obviously, I've done all the door jambs as well. I could have went a little bit hard on the rubbers, I'm going to admit, but all the door jambs are squeaky clean right now. I didn't actually do too much on the seat. I gave it a little squirt of water and a quick vacuum. These door cards are really, really clean, so I'm not going to bother touching those. I'm not going to do what I don't need to do. Once we're at this point, and only once we're at this point, we can then move on. Obviously, we won't do the whole car, but we'll then move on and hit this with like a protectant. So I just use Armor All because it's cheap. I am not brand loyal at all. Whatever works from each particular brand, I will simply use. Now, I'm not a big one for glossy finish. A glossy finish does tend to create havoc when it comes to paint work, which I've mentioned many times in the past. Anything with a silicone base is a no-no. But if I was to use a little bit of Armor All on the interior, I always wipe it on and then wipe it off to make sure that it hasn't got a residue. All the dust will stick to it and look worse than it being dirty in the first place. So I'm gonna go around the rest of the car, clean this up thoroughly, and then we'll go hit all the plastics with some Armor All, see how well they come up. The interior starting to look good again. Pretty good car. All right, guys, now here we are next day. As you can see, it has changed overnight. A beautiful day yesterday, absolute miserable today. I've been waiting a couple of hours for the rain to pass so I can show you guys the next step. Sorry, it's super windy. I can't do anything about it, so hopefully you all can hear me. Next step, I was going to tackle this paint. Now, as you can see, we lost the fuel flap, so I need to respray that at some stage, and I need to do a few touch-ups on the car, irrelevant of that. But we're going to try and get this thing up looking as good as we can regardless. Next step, we're going to spray this thing down with an iron eater. We need to get all of the contaminants out of the paint of this car. So anything that's landed on the surface of the car is staining the paint, and we need to get all that out. For that, we're going to use this GT iron eater. We got put onto this from our boy Josh. Shout out to Josh. This stuff is freaking awful. It smells like rotten eggs. Seriously, you need a chunder when you smell this shit, but it does work. So we're gonna spray this shit down. You will see it work right before your eyes. It turns all the contaminants to like a purple reddy color, which means you know it's working. And the difference you can feel in the paint is huge. So we'll spray that down and you'll see how this turns out. Now here you'll see the GT Iron Eater doing its thing. Everywhere that there's contaminants in this paint, the product runs like a reddy purple color, so you can see it happening right here. Once it's done its thing, You can scrub it or simply hose it off. I'm going to blast off with a pressure washer. Okay guys, now the last step we're going to do in today's video is hit this car with a clay pad. Now I've got a clay pad for my orbital sander. They also come in just a block, or they come in a mitt or a rag. Basically this is a special material here that picks up all the contaminants on the paint. Similar to what we've done with the iron eater, but this stuff is just a little bit more of a mechanical removal, and the difference in the paint is huge. Already the paint has come up a hell of a lot cleaner, but this is going to just take it to that next level. Now you don't have to do both of those, but I suggest if a car is well and truly due, or a car's been sitting in a workshop, especially with a lot of grinding and shit going on, all that grinding dust landing on the car, that's going to eat into the paint. Eventually it's going to rust. This thing is going to get all of that out. The paint is going to feel like chalk and cheese in difference. I spray it down with just a general purpose car wash. I'm not brand specific on this either. Have a specific brand you guys like in the way of just a car wash, let me know. But I've just got a basic car wash here. We're going to spray this down, lubricate it all, and buzz this car. We'll show you what it looks like. Right, now the process is as simple as that. As you can see, it's just buzzing the car back as if you were going to paint the thing, but don't worry, this won't do any damage to your paint. In fact, it's going to make this thing look like new. Before you even polish it, it's already going to look like you've hit it with a buff. Now, it's actually going to be really hard to show you on film, but I'm always blown away by the difference it makes. You can see how dirty this paint actually was. I might do another section somewhere else so we can do a really obvious before and after. These things are worth their weight in gold. All right, that's a quick example, guys. Now I'm going to wrap this thing up before I get absolutely pelted. Let's get inside and wrap this video up. Okay, guys, so as you can see, the weather just come in and started smashing me hard, so I had to pull the pin on that one. But we got the job done. I showed you all the methods and some of the products that I use in detailing cars. Not that I'm a detailer by any stretch, but most of the cars we buy do need a lot of work. And these are sort of the basics I do to get them back to a baseline. And then from there, it's much easier to keep them maintained and clean on a weekly basis. Now, I'm obviously going to have to wrap this car up another day. You guys won't see that, but you may see in a future episode when I go a little bit further with this car. I want to do a few paint repairs. There's a little bit of light hail damage on the car, and I plan on getting that all fixed up so that it can then go on the market. But of course, everything is for sale at the right money. So if you guys want to snatch this off me now before I start doing any work, would be prepared to let this thing go. Now, this served Andrea well as a daily for almost 12 months while her AU was off the road, but that is now her new daily again, and she is absolutely loving it. So this NC Fairlane needs to stay on the streets because it is a too good a car to be wasted sitting behind the gates like it was for the past 7 years before she bought it. A quick rundown on the car. It has done some mega Ks. It's got like nearly 600,000 Ks on it. It was an ex-chauffeur car, and apparently the old fella, it was his pride and joy. He owned it from day one, and he meticulously maintained it. As you can see by the interior, it is actually impeccable. The exterior does need a little bit of work, but it's pretty well presented. It has been her daily for almost 12 months. It has not let her down. We have done a little bit of work on it. We've done the brakes. We got a gas tune on it. There's been a few other things, maybe some window regulators, bits and pieces I can't remember right now, but it has been an absolutely amazing daily for her. Never let her down once, and we have done some serious Ks in this car. We've done some road trips as well, and being an LPG car, it actually has some really, really good mileage. So it's a 5 litre Windsor, but you get 350 Ks out of a tank, we're talking like 60 bucks. That's actually cheaper than running a 6-cylinder. And yeah, we absolutely love it, but we can't keep them all. So that's going to be it for this time around, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you picked up a few tips along the way. Please feel free to share any of your tips with me, what products you like to use. Hit me up in the comments below. And yeah, let's spread the awareness. Let's learn from each other. And let's keep these cars on the road. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Please check out the online store. We've got plenty of stock. Coming into summer, we've got plenty of teas. Don't forget to support the channel if you're into it. Thanks to all my members, and I'll see you all on an upcoming episode. Cheers, guys.